The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio. I am your host, Wes Forsyth. We are now... Did you miss me? Did you miss me? Because we are now in Scarefest 12. 11 gone. 11 gone. Great season. Great Scarefest, but we're already looking forward to Scarefest 12 now, and this is episode 1 of, we call it season 12, even though I've only done like 5 seasons of Scarefest Radio. It's confusing. We just go by the number of the Scarefest. Tonight will be, in just a few moments, we will be joined by Maria Schmidt. National Ghost Hunting Day is what we'll be talking about. The world's largest ghost hunt. Now, I'm going to waste a few minutes here telling you that with the new season, we got big plans for Scarefest Radio. And that's because, hey, people, this is my only gig now. Everything else is gone. Scarefest Radio is all I got. So you're just going to put up with me and all that stuff. But I'll be doing a lot more with the show, a lot of things that you haven't seen before. And the other thing is my radio voice. I announced at the Scarefest all weekend and could not get rid of my radio voice. I was talking to my wife on the way home in my inflected, overly emphasized radio voice the entire way. It took me 3 days to get rid of it, and now I had trouble getting it back. So excuse me if I go all southern on your asses tonight. And finally, I'm a little disappointed at the weather. I had such big plans. Scarefest, come home, sleep a day, and then unpack. But no, the sun comes out. I have to go to work because I'm a farmer. So we are not unpacked. Anita unpacked some candy, which we've already ate. Thank you. What she call her little booth? Sweet Intentions. Sweet Intentions. Look them up on Facebook. Delicious. But and I haven't tapped into my other gift. Stephanie Bingham brought me a whole bag of liquor. She works at a museum, a liquor museum, a whiskey museum, and apparently this is what they sweep off the floor. It's not even like she said, "Oh, this is just stuff we had laying around." Yeah, I have the wrong job. I have the wrong job is where it all goes. So anyway, I still got to unpack. I hope it sets in raining, and if everything works tonight, we will actually have a couple of more guests join us. Hopefully on camera, because you never know about Skype. But all the frivolity aside, Maria, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's quite an honor to be after your one week of incredibleness of Scarefest, to be the first one to start your season. Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you.
The honor is all mine because I just lucked out that you were willing to do it on such short. It's long. I'm not even going to get into the story. We had her scheduled elsewhere, and I had to cancel the other appearance. And here she is a week before the event. So I mean, she's probably got a list of things to do a mile long that I'm just making her behind on. But the background on it. Let's go back to the first year. Now, the first year that after you did that, you got the calendar people to acknowledge National Ghost Hunting Day. We did the launch at the Scarefest that year.
Yes, we did, and it was an incredible experience and such an honor. I still remember approaching very sheepishly to Patty Starr, and I said, "Patty, I know you're a trailblazer, and you've done a lot of firsts being a woman, and you can probably hear my story, understand my story, and maybe support my story. And I can't think of a better place than to be launched off under your platform of the Scarefest. And I told her, I said, I had dreams. We secured National Ghost Hunting Day. We wanted to do something extremely unique and possibly powerful. And that would be the largest, at that point, it was the largest ghost hunt in America. And that was back in July of 2016 when we started conversations. And sure enough, with her help and your help, Wes, we got it launched off on October 1st, 3 months later, short of 3 months. And it was pretty amazing. Along the journey, Brian Cano came along and said, "Why are we stopping with the continental USA? Let's take on the world." And I go, "Okay," and we did. And then it was 70 countries. 70 locations amongst 5 countries. And I thought that was pretty amazing that it happened. The second year in 2017, we did 92 locations in 10 countries and in 5 continents. And then this year, we reached a really incredible volume of 150 plus locations amongst 13 countries and 6 continents. And this year, we've added the dark continent, Africa, to our location. So I'm really, really excited about that. We have some amazing locations that I would have never thought we would bring on. So it's gotten better.
Well, I'm going to say that you flatter me. I was there for the launch, but
you were a significant.
No, everybody, here's what I did for the launch. She kept having me come on radio shows with her and George Lopez. Now, if you've ever heard George Lopez and you're hearing Maria now, the chances of me getting 10 words in the whole course of an hour were slim to none. So I just want to put that out there, that my name was attached, but I contributed a very, very small amount. But I was honored to be a part of it, and I would have spent more time in the control room, but the bar was like right outside the door. So that's what messed up that part of it, because you can't drink on the ghost hunts, but you can drink in the control room. Now, how do you? This is just something that will bore all the listeners or viewers.
And we want to
you try to do live feeds from most, if not all, of these ghost hunts in one form or another. How in the world are you doing that?
It's amazing. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I said it's literally impossible to do. But with every year, we have new technologies. The first year was, it was horrible. And we relied simply on Facebook and the power of us all liking and loving each other, and it was okay. There were a lot of technological issues, which were sometimes planned and sometimes like, how did that happen? Of course, we always blame the spirit for that. Second year, we did have a sponsor, and unfortunately, we crashed their servers with as much volume of requests wanting to come in and watch the live streams. This year, I think we've really taken all the it's only our third year, but we've taken all the bad stories and made them into teaching points. And I think we've got a really good setup. So this year we have 3 foundations of live streaming, which you have to. Not every property has enough bandwidth to support certain elements. So the first one we have obviously is Facebook Live. And we are doing a very formalized spot where people can go in and find with the interactive map where the live hunts are. The second format is going to be with an application that is relatively new in the market. They're very Facebook friendly, and it's probably the most interactive live stream there is in existence. And basically what it is you feel like you're in an auditorium, so you're watching whatever presentation on the stage, and then you have an audience that you're a part of, and you can all talk to each other, interact with each other, raise your hand, get up on stage. It's extremely interactive and very robust, and it's called Shindig. And they are our premier sponsor for this year. And so we're going through a learning curve as well as an introductory curve to the market, because Shindig is not well known, but hopefully they will be after World's Largest Ghost Hunt. And then the third platform that we have is a radio station out of New York. You may know it, Paratalk Radio. And they've offered and volunteered to keep their radio station on live for an hour before the hunt, through the hunt, and then an hour post the hunt, so people can call in and share the stories, what's going on in their property. So there's going to be a lot of exchange of, look what's going on here. The command center is going to be in my hometown, or our hometown of Hamilton, Ohio. It's just simpler that way. It salutes our beautiful city, but it also gives us the conveniences that we need for stability. And because this needs stability, when you do this kind of project, you need some technological stability, and I think we're going to have it this year. So essentially, everyone is going to be able to look inside the command center and see all the monitors focusing around the world. It's going to be very, very exciting. Scotty Rourke is going to be our commander-in-chief at the event, since Brian Cano is taking a sabbatical, and he's going to basically navigate 2 hours of ghost hunting. And we've got a very incredible script that we're going to be following. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take our first commercial break of the show. You're watching Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. Now, of course, everybody, that's the technical side of it. I feel for you, because we tried to do live stream. I do live stuff, and we tried to do live streams from the Scarefest, and we did them, but we couldn't get we couldn't get all the streams to go everywhere we wanted them to go. So we ended up just doing Facebook Live and calling it a day. But even then, I had other people working the equipment, and I forgot to show them, oh yeah, you've got to use the good mic, because Facebook just kept wanting to go back. So I feel for you on the technical aspects, and the thought of trying to juggle all of those people is completely beyond me. Now, one thing I do want to, before we go any further, one of the things that Brian was big on was the collective consciousness into the experiments. Now, everybody, basically what this means is, and I was going to make the assumption now, they're still kind of structuring it that way. But if you know anything about ghost hunts, one of the things we all do is we all go out and we say crappy questions like, "What is your name?" They had good questions. They had good questions. Yeah. But everybody worldwide asked the same questions at about the same time.
Yes.
Now, all I ever got on the feedback was the preliminary results that Brian gave me. Maria, how has the collective consciousness experiments, how have they gone?
They're incredible. They're incredible. One of the biggest challenges that we have in the paranormal field is for folks to give up their evidence. It's like it becomes proprietary. You know that. It's really, really hard for them to give up, the evidence. But we're working on this together. So they all know that we got to pull this evidence together, and they do, for the purpose of showcasing what the message from Spirit is. What was amazing again, the first year, it was a remarkable thing to even get these guys all on live stream. But the second year, we were a little bit more successful, and we had a more formalized data gathering process. And what we found out, one of Brian's questions was, how do we best communicate with you? And I collected all the EVPs and all the ghost box communications and even the ghost radars and the mediumship intuitive words that came out in their discussions. And the number one phrase to the question of how do we best communicate with you was oneness, or one, being one. It was all about, again, what we were trying to do on that particular day. So I think they kind of liked the fact that we were doing this. The second most common phrase that we heard for the same question of how do we best communicate with you was diminish ego. And I thought that was extremely powerful, because unfortunately eskimo is one of the poisons in our society, whether we're communicating with Spirit or whether we are running an off, whatever it is, politics. If you can get rid of that damn ego and just focus on us being one, how marvelous was that message? And that came from last year. We are including that question this year with Scotty Rourke, but we have an additional 5 questions. And that's all going to be done on hour 1. Hour 2, and this is brand new, and this is kind of fun. We are letting them do a crafted investigation, which means that they're going to design their own investigation, and we want them to be off limits. We want them to do things that they never thought they could do. One team is doing a sensory deprivation experiment. Another team is doing a seance in Australia. And she is a very powerful medium, and she'll be doing a seance. So I know a lot of us are going to be looking at her stuff. A couple of them are doing reenactments. Gettysburg, the battlefield in Gettysburg, is doing a reenactment of the Gettysburg, campground there. Old Baraboo Inn in Wisconsin are going to do the old, the old Wild Wild West, with the little ladies of the night. So they're all going to be doing their own little twisted experiment, and then come so we can pop in and look at this stuff. I'm just telling them, just go out of it. Just do whatever you want to. What you think is going to work. And that's how it's going to be a little different this year. So we're going to give them a little autonomy, and hopefully we'll see a lot of fun come out of it.
It struck me when you said the ghost all said oneness. I'm thinking, yeah, a bunch of hippie ghosts. Jeez. I for the sake of some friends, I was hoping a few of them would say, yeah, your cell phone thing, that's real cool. Yeah. No, I get it. They so in other words, that makes it. I'm surprised they chose that word or phraseology, but it does make sense to me, because I always said I think that's why a lot of the places that I hang out are haunted, is so many people are going in there looking for ghosts. So I mean that combination of mental powers, that concentration. Now the other part though about the ego, see, it leaves me out. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go in with ego. I'm the live guy. You all aren't. So, but anyway.
Are you a ghost turret? Is that what you're telling me?
Sometimes child ghosts love me though. I think because they can smell the lack of BS when I'm around them. So we've got the experiments going on. Now, because we're in a few minutes, we'll be trying to get our other guest on. I do want to make sure everybody knows now. NationalGhostHuntingDay.com. NationalGhostHuntingDay.com. I'm sure that. Are you going to be posting there, or should they watch your Facebook as far as trying to keep up with the live streams?
Yeah, I'm going to go broad on it. So wherever they hit us, whether it's a Facebook page, which is National Ghost Hunting Day, that's our fan page. Our group page is World's Largest Ghost Hunt. We do have an event. So wherever they go on social media, they're going to be able to find the resource of one click to get them wherever they want to go. So past this Monday, starting on Monday, when they go to the website, they'll have 3 choices of how to engage with us: Facebook, Shindig, or the Radio Talk station. So from there they can, manipulate it. So we're going to make it easy for them. If they want to sign up for our mailing list, that's the best way, because we're going to send out a massive email on Friday reminding them to join up, and they're going to get the direct hits there as well. So, yeah, we're gathering a large mailing list and a lot of good traffic in our social media, and above all, it's our teams. We're so excited. They're just spectacular. They always are spectacular. But these teams are very special, and we've got everything from 2 vessels, and you have actually one of the guests coming on today, one of magnificent vessel in Canada, another one in Michigan, and we have jails, and we have, it's just everything. We have a very noble little farmhouse. We have a small little clinic in North Carolina that unfortunately, fortunately got saved from the floods. But we got the Sally House, which I thought was really cool. We have something in New Orleans with Bloody Mary's Haunted Museum. So it's all over the place. So all you have to do is go into our map and say, okay, I want to go to India. I want to go to Malaysia. I want to go to Australia. I want to go to the Philippines. Or I want to just go across the river over to Kentucky. So we've got a few spots in Kentucky, a few in Ohio. I think the #1 states this year is neck and neck between Ohio and New York. That makes sense because I'm from New York and I live in Ohio. So I don't know how that happened, but that's how it happened. We do have for the first time the state of Hawaii. So we're very excited about the Honolulu process. But keep in mind, all these sites are going live at the very same time. So Hawaii is going to be something like noon. It's going to the next day. India is going to be 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. Australia, I think, is going to be 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. Kentucky, I don't know. You still need a passport to go into Kentucky? I forgot.
No, okay. Now I want to tell you something. Every one of these haunted places that you're talking about,
yeah,
have a Kentucky connection. I guarantee. I am convinced that Kentucky is the base of haunted stuff. I'm not saying we have the most hauntings. I'm just saying it seems like when you get into the history of these places, you come to find out the caretaker in 1932 was from Kentucky or some BS.
They drank bourbon.
Yeah, or they drank, and it had to be Kentucky bourbon. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Now I forgot what I was getting ready to say. It was about the Ross Opera House. Now here, okay, that's one I know they're doing it here in Kentucky. That's right down the road from me.
Indiana.
I cannot believe that place has not given you your absolute clearest, best evidence. I think if it has not, they have not explained the situation to the ghost yet. Tell the team, if they're not listening, when they go in there, explain to them the National Ghost Hunting Day. Explain to them the world's largest ghost hunt. Tell them to get on the stick. They'll understand. That's just all I'm saying.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Wes, or even if I showed you, in 2016, they actually captured a full apparition.
I never saw it. I heard about it, but I never saw it. I don't know if you told me. Heck, Brian might have told me.
Huh?
I'm not sure if you told me or if Brian told me, but I never got to see what they caught.
One of us did. And here's something that's real interesting that I kind of don't like to share too much, but you have to share the good and the bad, I guess. And we don't know if this is a total coincidence or not. We just don't know. But the first year, a team out of California called me at the very last minute and said, we're not going to be able to make it to the world's largest ghost hunt this year. They drove in separate cars, and the case manager called me. The other car was involved in a very bad motor vehicle accident. I don't know if you remember that or not. That was year one. And most of them ended up in ICU. They did all survive, but it was a real bump, and I felt so horrible. And Brian and I just kind of soaked about this. And year two, I get a call from the case manager in India, and he tells me, I'm waiting for my team, and I just got a phone call that they're all in the hospital with fractures from the motor vehicle accident. So it's kind of one of those weird coincidences. We just heard about 2 weeks ago that our team in South Africa was involved. One of the team members was involved in a motorcycle accident, and he was pretty messed up, but he survived. So it seems to be a trend of transportation versus the world's largest ghost hunt going on here, So, and that's just one of the weird things. And I'm not going to expect it this year. I'm hoping that there are no other, coincidences to reflect on. But
I would go so far as to say it's a coincidence. But yeah. I have also always said from day one, everybody, once I got into ghost hunting, everybody was telling me, what about the dangers? What about, something will follow you home, you'll get possessed or something like that. And I've always preached from day one, you are more likely to get killed falling down a flight of stairs in a dark building. In other words, ghost hunting is dangerous, but not for the reasons, that we pop into our head. You're out late, early, but and when you've got that many teams, statistically, stuff's going to happen. So I'm going to play that down. But at the same time, God bless and good luck to all the teams this year. Be careful, drive slow, and arrive alive, as they say. Because there's the whole point of ghost hunting, you're the live ones, they're the dead ones.
We want to keep it like that for a while.
Yeah, let's keep it like that. We're at the half-hour mark. We're going to take our next commercial break, everybody. This is Scarefest Radio. We'll be right back in just a few seconds, and then we're going to try to get Peg Nick on the phone from the Knickerbocker Hotel.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to CoyoteChris.com to learn more.
Leave it on me. Okay, everybody, now this is going to be interesting because we're actually going to try to do this live on the air. I'm actually going to try to add someone to this call. I won't make you suffer through the whole process that I go through here. You'll just get to see me type. Okay, there's the name. Let's see if Peg will answer the phone. And it's ringing. And it's ringing. And it shows her online. No, wait a minute. 2 of 3 in the call. Well, what'd you do with it, Skype? Did you just quit? It didn't give me a message or anything. Oh, well. Let's see what happens. Nope. Peg did not answer the phone. I'm going to try one more time. Well, that's not a good sign. Okay, well then, everybody, to cover for that. Now, I never actually heard back from her. I'm not entirely sure. Let me check on her Facebook here. Yeah, she doesn't. It doesn't show she accepted my friend request either. So I don't know.
I just private messaged her, so hopefully we'll get her on.
If she answers, then tell her I'll try her again.
Okay.
But just give you a little background. Now, this is Peg Nick from the Knickerbocker Hotel in Linesville, Pennsylvania. Notoriously haunted place. Is that like, they've got a picture on their webpage, if anybody wants to play the home version, knickerbockerlinesville.com, of Lilydale. Is that like close to Lilydale? I had no idea.
I didn't think it was. Isn't Lilydale in New York? And
I don't know. They put it on the page. That's maybe not. I mean, that's what I thought. But Pennsylvania's close to New York, so you can't go by that.
Yeah. And then again, as your definition was close is, so.
Or maybe they just like it and wanted to give them some advertising. Who the hell knows? Going back to some of the teams you were talking about, I'm, of course, like I said, I'm excited to know that they're doing. I think the Ross has been in it every year, though. I do think my hometown has had reps every year.
Yes,
I love what you said they're doing in Gettysburg. That is just off the charts for a 2-hour event. To do something like that.
Yes.
And but I will tell you now, I'll make somebody mad. But now I don't know what psychic you have working with your team in Australia. Okay, we're not going to name names because I don't remember who it was anyway. But I will tell you, the only psychic that I've ever talked to that I considered completely off her meds was from Australia. That's all I'm going to tell you.
What's her first initial?
I don't even remember. Honestly, I do not remember. It's been so long since I talked to him. But every other psychic, I understand psychics process information differently. I think that's God's plan, if you will. I think he gives you the information in such a way that will fit both in with your upbringing, your belief system. So I got so when psychics disagree, no problem with that. But this one was off the rails. That's all I'm saying. That's only one. As many psychics as I've ever talked to. The only one.
She's pretty famous in Australia, so we'll take this one off.
Okay. Mine wasn't famous. I know she wasn't famous. She was just a psychic.
Well, I mean, not famous, but she's extremely well respected. Yeah, in Australia.
Well, she can come on and defend herself. It's probably not the same person. I'm kidding. But and that's not to say that I haven't ran into a few in the country. And then again, I fit into that category. So it's like pot, kettle, meat. Everybody. Now let's go back to the beginning. First of all, I should have threw this in the beginning of the show. I was curious. Okay, National Ghost Hunting Day. I know that in the tourism business that you are, and with the passion for ghost hunting, I understand why you wanted this, but why didn't you just glom on to National Paranormal Day?
Oh, because the National Paranormal Day encompasses all that's paranormal, and that could be a whole array of folks, a ufologist, a crypts, etc. Everything that's a little bit offbeat falls into that. And I just felt like the ghost hunting and I didn't say National Ghost Hunters Day. I said National Ghost Hunting Day. So it was more of the exploration of the spiritual entities. And that is the core of our business with Haunted Journeys. And we're trying to say it's okay to be haunted. It's okay to explore and be excited about visiting haunted places, and this is a way to showcase it. And by the way, while you're doing this, you're doing two significant things. One of them is possibly preserving historical structures, because a lot of these haunted places are in very sacred historical places that are at risk of being demolished. And if it wasn't for the haunted tourism, they would have been. Another piece that we're trying to showcase is that it's not all about what television tells us the haunted is about. and it's a, you know, it's much more respectful. It can be much more respectful. I'm trying to see, you know, showcase the significance of history behind the haunted, and that's extremely important because, as we say in Haunted Journeys, a haunting is history wanting to be heard. And, you know, we think every time they communicate with us, they're telling us something. It might be very insignificant or be very significant. It may be good, it may be bad, it may be silly, it may be crazy, but it's part of their life that they spent, a reflection of what the time they spent here, and they want that message to be heard. So that's the pillars that we try to embrace with Haunted Journeys, and that is what we're trying to showcase as part of the world's largest ghost hunt. And I think it's done a really good job with that, because we put places on the map from year one that they never had a posture. And one good example is the old Baraboo Inn. And because of all the exposure that we gave them through 2016 and 2017, just recently from Food Magazine, they were noted as one of the 10 top haunted restaurants in the United States. And a lot of that came out from the world's largest ghost hunt. So those kind of things are important to us. You know, we know what it is to have an old building that's, that's difficult and expensive to keep up. And so is the case with the old Baraboo Inn. And they just went through some flooding. And if it wasn't for the income they're getting from the world's largest ghost hunt, which is basically all 100% donations they keep from our efforts, they wouldn't have been able to survive for the spring. So it does a lot of good. So it's not just a fascinating, scientific process or, a good scare for a day, but something that carries on throughout the rest of the year.
I agree completely. Now, on a side note, I have to have that list. Top haunted restaurants. I did not even know there was such a list. I've got to have that list. But
yeah.
I do. I'll help you preach a minute about these historic locations. I know one of ours here in the state that catches hell all the time is Waverly Hills. It's $100 a person. But okay, everybody, that sounds like a lot of money. But I'm going to tell you about the mansion that was on the farm next door. Now, we had an old Victorian style pre-Civil War mansion sat on the farm next to us. They wanted to try to save it, and the first step in saving any building from ruin is the roof. So they checked. Because it was a historic building, the roof could only be replaced with an appropriate historic roof. That's a law in Kentucky, apparently. $250,000. The place is now has been distributed as bricks, to give you an idea. And the Ross Opera House is another good example. When they went through the transition from analog movies, film, in other words, they could not afford it ended up being like $80,000, I think, to get the digital equipment. And the small hometown, theater, they could not begin to afford that. Ghost hunting is what kept the doors open until they found someone to sponsor going digital. And so now it's a nice, healthy business. It's been preserved, and they're still doing ghost hunts, obviously. But yeah, these ghost hunts at these historic locations, honestly, on these real historic locations, I have never seen anybody do what I would call profiteering on it. And I've been on this side of the business. Yeah. So in other words, I'm not just out there poking around dark buildings. I'm talking to the people. I'm getting feedback, and I just wanted to put that out there also.
Yeah, they all need help, Wes, and if we can help them, if anything, one of the things that we do with the world's largest ghost hunt is teach them some skills on how to market and how to create an event. A lot of them say, we've never done this before. How do you do this? So, we do a lot of facilitation, which I think is really, really important. So I think that's, we got a call about a month ago, and it was a Victorian bed and breakfast in Michigan. and they said they wanted to call me and thank us. They said they had never, ever experienced what they did. As soon as we posted that they were going to do the world's largest ghost hunt, he says, we sold out our 6 rooms and our 20 tickets in 2 hours. And they said, we have never, ever experienced that ever. You know, it take months to fill up ever to have full occupancy. We never have full occupancy, and it takes months to do it. So, and hopefully, you know, that will be residual, that they continue to have that. And it's just another mode of capturing the revenues in order to support these buildings. It's not the only, but it's definitely a very good one. There's more interest in hearing history through the voice of the spirit than it is from a textbook librarian. I always say, you know, kids love a spooky story, and if it has a reference to the history of that building, then I think it captures a lot more attention from the children and from adults.
Now I'm going to frame this next question kind of 2 different ways, but it's in relation to what you're doing. On these historic haunted locations, are you finding a lot of places don't want to embrace the haunt? A lot of businesses say, there's a place in Georgetown that does weddings, and we don't want anybody to know it's haunted. It's one of the most haunted places I've ever been in my life.
Right.
Are you finding that more and more places are embracing this? And as far as National Ghost Hunting Day, are you being approached by places saying, hey, find us a team? Or is it still mostly teams saying, hey, we got a great place?
You know, it's an excellent question. Yes, there is a more forgiving attitude about the haunted and the funding associated with that. Some folks will say, I'll do it just because it helps and I know it's going to get us a little money, but I really don't believe in it. So that's like their first step of recovery, I call it. The first year, I would say 90% of the registrants were from teams. Last year, it decreased. It was more like 70%. This year, 60% were teams, 40% were historical sites. So I'm seeing a trend of that. We're giving them permission to at least explore this and with honor, because it's all in the name of historic preservation. It's all in the name of, you know, para-unity, and it's all in the name of public education. So it has a lot of good stuff behind it. So I think it's, and then they keep the 100% of the donations, so that helps too. So they're starting to realize that there is, and this is one of our goals with Haunted Journeys, is to go out there and do a little bit more industry education of some of the merits in the haunted tourism world.
Everybody, we're going to take our final commercial break of the hour. When we come back, we're going to try to get Stephanie Whaley on the line. You're watching Scarefest Radio.
His body movement is unreal. That was awesome.
Body movements, yeah.
And welcome back to Scarefest Radio. And that was, of course, from Wicked World Scaregrounds. Little secret, everybody. We're going to try to do a remote broadcast from there sometime during the month of October. I'm not promising nothing. If we can work it out, we're going to actually do an on location from the Scaregrounds. Big supporter of the Scarefest, and so we want to give them a little publicity for their Halloween season. Okay, now I'm going to do my thing again here and see if it works this time, and see if Stephanie Whaley, if I can get her. D-E. Okay. And once again, hoping I have the right one, but the address matched, so that's what I'm going on. Add. And if it doesn't work out next time, we're going to have to do this completely different, Maria. You do realize that.
That's right. I'll let you be in charge of 2019 World's Largest Ghost Hunt.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh, wait a minute. It looks like she's answering. Stephanie?
Hello? Oh, there she is.
She doesn't seem surprised that I'm calling, so I'm going to assume that everybody, go ahead and flip her over on the screen there. Now, we actually have two people at once on Scarefest Radio. The crowd goes wild. Now, Stephanie, I understand that you are, now, what is your connection to the Milwaukee, to the USS Milwaukee?
We approached them a few months ago, probably back in March, actually, and asked if this was something that they'd be willing to do. We knew that they had other teams on there before that had done fundraising for them, and we just really felt like they were someone kind of local to us that could really use the fundraising money, and we would really enjoy being on there.
Now, have you okay, let's get your background. I'm going to assume now that you are a ghost hunter.
Yes.
Okay. Have you hunted the Milwaukee?
I personally have not. Other members on our team have.
So the reason I ask that is doing this live investigation thing. Here's a side note. When the Tennessee Wraith Chasers told me about their new TV show, Ghost Hunt Live, I said, "Oh my God, you all are nuts!" Because doing it for TV is completely off the rails. But has anybody went in and checked out the logistics of doing the live shots there? Because as Maria mentioned earlier, haunted locations are not famous for their Wi-Fi. That's probably the best way to put it.
That's one of the qualifiers.
We did make sure to go down and do a live stream test from there, and we know it works.
Good.
So we are doing a lot more testing before next week, just so that we can be extra sure, because you just never know what's going to crop up.
Oh yeah, the unexpected. Now, the other question about the logistics, because I'm a logistics kind of guy. Did you do your live stream on deck or below deck?
We did all decks. We went up and down to the top, all the way down to the bottom, everywhere we could.
I can't get hotel Wi-Fi in the freaking Holiday Inn in Erie, Pennsylvania. They can go inside of a steel ship and do a live stream. There is something wrong with this picture, America. That's all I'm saying.
Michigan is cool. You right, Stephanie?
Absolutely.
It sounds to me like you got your ducks in a row. I'm really pleased for you. Give us what do you know about the history of the Milwaukee?
The Milwaukee was built in 1930 and launched in 1931, and it was built to replace the SS Milwaukee, which sank in a storm with all hands on deck. It was used to transport train cars across Lake Michigan, usually from Muskegon to Wisconsin. And it was used by the Grand Trunk Railroad Company until 1976, when it was transferred to another company. It was retired in 1982, and it now sits in Manistee, Michigan, and is used as a bed and breakfast, and they do their own haunted attraction on there in October. And it was listed in the Historical Landmark Society in 1990.
Now, what are some of the stories? Because we're not actually going with you, then you can't like influence us. What are some of the haunts associated with it?
There have been footsteps heard when there was nobody else on deck. There's been phantom smells, such as flowers and other things that really shouldn't have been on a ship. There have been apparitions there. There was a lady in white seen in the bar area, and they believe that that is a woman who fell overboard, whether on purpose or on accident. They haven't figured it out. There was also an apparition in the bottom area by the engine room, which is called the Flicker, and that is reportedly a crew member who died on board.
You know what I want? I want to find a haunted location without a lady in white. and that includes what was it? The Ross Opera House used to call theirs a lady in white, and they said we actually changed the name because everybody has a lady in white. Now, I forget what they ended up naming her. Something similar but different, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that when you said that, that's the first thing popped into my mind. There's another one. But now the second hour. Now, understand the first hour is very, very structured as far as what you all will be doing. What do you all have planned for the second hour of your investigation when you're kind of more freewheeling?
We have always a lot of different experiments set up. We use EchoVox a lot. We have a red light experiment. We are going to do just straight up EVP. We're going to do anything and everything that we can think of to try to open communication.
I love good old... Am I showing my age? I don't get into all this newfangled stuff. I love doing EVP work. And people bring out the apps and the ghost... Now, okay, I kind of... A good ghost box session, I'll go along with it. But all the new technology that introduces an echo or a contaminant into the environment to create words. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Don't get me wrong. I can't embrace that stuff. Mostly because nobody can explain to me how it works.
Right.
And is that just me being an old fuddy-dud or... I heard that.
That was Bob. I agree with you, Wes, 110%, because I'm a clinician, and we tend to be a little bit more scientific. And before you treat, you have to, have a causative agent, and you have to have, the theories proven, and you got to have a reason why things work. And you're right. How do we even know that a K2 is measuring the energy?
Well, we don't.
Related to energy. I mean, who wrote the book on that? And I feel the same way. I feel like anything that drives the data, where you can actually see or hear, the entity, is more impressionable than a little gadget that lights up.
Yeah. I mean, we measure environment. Well, I'll throw that in the whole environmental factor thing. Now, I do want to say I understand why people use these other devices, because it's a great way to break up the monotony of what a real ghost hunt is. And another reason I don't mind a ghost box is because actually, Tim Morrison actually explained to me how one works in a way that my 5th grade mind could comprehend, and so that made it much easier for me to embrace the technology, if you will. So we're pretty much we're at the end of the show. Let's get all the plugs in now. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on for a few minutes. Good luck with your hunt, and
thank you.
And second hour, try dropping my name.
I will do it.
To the lady in white.
Yeah, to the lady in white. It might be the same damn one. That might be our collective consciousness. There might be one ghost worldwide in a white dress just flitting around the ether. There's the word for the week, everybody. Not to win a ticket, just to look up on Google. To flitting around the ether, one lady in white who's just dicking with everybody all at once. Now, Maria, okay, we covered some of it. Of course, I had nationalghosthuntingday.com pulled up. The other one is World's Largest Ghost Hunt.
It's our group page on Facebook.
Okay.
It's World's Largest Ghost Hunt. Yeah.
So everybody, look them up on Facebook. You know you want to look them up on Facebook. Nobody uses the internet anymore except Facebook. It's like when everybody was on America Online. You tell somebody on America Online to go to your webpage, and they go, "What's a webpage?" So anyway, Facebook.
Hashtag largest ghost hunt. You will find all your videos, your live streams on the day of. If they go to hashtag largest ghost hunt and they do a search for live videos, they're going to come all in. They're just going to pour in because all our teams will be using that hashtag. Right. Stephanie?
Right.
Don't forget that, Stephanie. So everybody, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. We are in Scarefest 12. We're back to normalcy around here, which is still frivolity, but we're just going to try to cover all of our bases here and move forward. Next week, little teaser for everybody, Brandon Griffith, co-owner of Scarefest, will be right here with me. And the reason is we are going to go behind the scenes and find out what went right, what went wrong, what needs to be changed, and chairs. That's chairs. So, I want to thank everybody for watching. This has been Scarefest Radio.
Thank you all. Appreciate it, Wes.
Thank you.